All right, ready for a deep dive into some internet history?
Always up for a trip down memory lane, especially when it involves movies.
Right. Today, we're looking at Cinefacts, a German movie website that really took off in the early 2000s.
Oh, Cinefacts, yeah.
Our listener was curious about what happened to them, and honestly, it's a fascinating story.
Yeah, it really shows you how much the internet has transformed, even just in the last 20 years or so.
Like, imagine going back to 2005.
2005. Broadband was around, yeah.
But not as universal as it is now.
Definitely not. And forget about streaming services.
Right, like Netflix was barely a thing then.
Yeah, if you wanted to learn about a movie back then, your options were pretty limited.
You had what? Magazines, maybe some TV shows.
And a handful of websites. But even then.
Not great. So Cinefacts pops up.
And I bet for a lot of people, it was huge.
Oh, totally. I mean, a whole website in German entirely dedicated to movies.
Must have been a dream.
News, reviews, databases. They even had forums.
Forums were everything back then.
Absolutely. And get this, users could actually chat with film distributors directly on the forums.
Wow.
Can you imagine that now?
That's wild. Just casually talking to the people who made the movie you're curious about.
I know, right? Today, that would be unheard of.
You'd be lucky to get a studio social media intern to reply to your tweet.
Exactly. But back then, Cinefacts made it happen.
They were ahead of their time, that's for sure. And that direct interaction, that was huge.
Completely, it really set them apart.
Yeah, Cinefacts wasn't just a place to passively consume information about movies.
They built a community around it.
They did. It was a two-way street, you know. Users could share their thoughts and actually be heard by the people making the films.
Which was pretty revolutionary back
It
then.
really was. And that community-driven approach, super influential.
For sure. It's like they bottled that feeling of, those passionate late-night movie discussions you have with friends.
Totally. They brought that energy online.
Exactly. They created a space where everyone, from casual moviegoers to total film buffs, could connect.
And not just with each other, but with the filmmakers themselves.
It was a really special time. But as we know, success often comes with challenges.
And in Cinefacts' case, some pretty big challenges.
Yeah, and it all started with a legal battle that feels like straight out of a David versus Goliath story.
Ooh, this is a good one.
It is, and it all revolves around the names DVD Inside and Movie Inside.
Which sound pretty harmless, right?
Totally. But they definitely caught the attention of a certain tech giant.
Let me guess. Intel,
You got it.
of course. Those inside names were walking right into their territory.
Right into the lion's den. Intel, with their whole Intel Inside slogan and branding.
Yeah, they weren't too keen on sharing the inside spotlight.
Talk about a trademark battle waiting to happen.
Though, yeah, Intel takes their branding seriously.
I bet. So they weren't exactly thrilled about Cinefacts using those inside names.
Not even a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They cried foul, claiming trademark infringement.
I mean, I get it. Brand names are a big deal.
Huge. And Intel probably saw those Cinefacts names as a threat to their own identity.
Like someone was trying to pass off a fake as the real deal.
Exactly. Trademark law, it's complicated.
Oh,
But the core idea is protecting a company's brand, their reputation, and Intel.
they're not known for backing down from a fight.
Not at all, especially when it comes to something as valuable as their brand.
So what happened? Did Cinefacts lawyer up, take them to court?
It seemed headed that way for a bit.
Those legal battles can be brutal.
No kidding, even if you've got a strong case. But in the end, Cinefacts settled out of court.
Probably for the best. Those things can drag on
They're
forever.
crazy expensive.
True, sometimes cutting your losses is easier, even if you're in the right. So Cinefacts rebranded.
Probably a smart move in the long run.
Yeah, it probably saved them a lot of headaches. But their legal woes didn't end there, did they?
Sadly, no. They ran into another issue that feels super relevant even today.
Oh, what was that?
Their forum.
The forum, what happened?
They got hit with a lawsuit claiming they were responsible for some stuff users posted.
Wait, hold on. They got sued for what their users wrote.
It was a different time back then. The rules around online platforms, user-generated content, it was all still being figured out.
So it's kind of a legal gray area.
Totally. Back then, there wasn't a clear understanding of who was responsible for what when it came to online content.
So Cinefacts was stuck in the middle of this legal mess.
Pretty much.
What did the courts end up saying about it all?
Well, the court ruled that Cinefacts, because they owned the forum, they were liable for that user-generated content.
Even if they didn't know about the specific post.
Even then, yeah.
Wow, that seems like a big deal.
It was. Sent shockwaves through the online world.
It's like saying if you host a party and someone says something out of line, you're automatically responsible.
Exactly. Even if you didn't hear it or agree with it.
That's a huge burden to put on a platform, especially one like Cinefacts, with such an active community.
It was a pivotal moment, really forced everyone to confront the complexities of online speech. Who should be held accountable?
And it's something we're still grappling with today, especially with social media being so central to our lives.
Absolutely. It's a debate that's far from over.
It makes you wonder how these early internet companies even navigated it all.
Right. It was like they were building the plane while they were flying it.
And hoping they didn't crash and burn. But wait, Cinefacts had even more legal drama, right? Something about recording TV shows.
Hmm.
It's amazing they were dealing with all this legal stuff while trying to build a website.
Talk about stressful.
Did they manage to stay afloat through all of that?
You know, it's interesting.
Oh.
Despite the legal battles, Cinefacts had created something special.
Right, like that community we talked about, the dedicated user base.
It translated into a valuable brand, which attracted attention from potential buyers.
So the classic internet story, disrupt, grow, get acquired.
Pretty much.
Who ended up scooping them up?
The first acquisition was in 2011 by S&L Media Group.
Okay, and what does that usually mean for a site like Cinefacts?
Was this good news for them?
Exactly.
Well, acquisitions are tricky.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they're a positive thing, an injection of resources and expertise,
Right.
but often they come with changes in direction, aligning with the new parent company's goals.
And was that the case with Cinefacts?
Did they have to change things up after the acquisition?
Yeah.
We can't say for sure without insider knowledge,
Of course.
but we do know that just a few years later, in 2015, Cinefacts was acquired again,
Wow.
this time by Ströer Entertainment Web GmbH.
2 acquisitions in just a few years.
Sounds like a whirlwind.
So they went from this independent community to being part of a larger media landscape.
Exactly. And sadly, that's where the Cinefacts story takes its final turn.
Oh, no.
In 2016, they were absorbed by Kino.de, another big player in the German online movie scene.
Absorb?
So they were kind of folded into another website.
Yeah, like they just disappeared.
Yes, essentially. Some content was integrated into Kino.de, but the heart of Cinefacts, that vibrant forum, was kept running separately for a while,
Okay.
but ultimately shut down in 2018.
That's always a shame to see a thriving community disappear. What happened?
Several former moderators cited lack of support from Kino.de as the reason for leaving.
Oh, that's a bummer.
It adds a layer of sadness to the story.
Totally.
It's a reminder that even in the digital world, it's the human element, the sense of connection and shared purpose, that truly makes a community thrive.
That's a really good point.
For sure.
So what's left of Cinefacts today?
Beyond the memories, of course.
Right. What can we learn from its rise and fall?
Cinefacts is a fascinating case study.
That's for sure.
It reminds us of the power of online communities, especially those built around shared passions like film. It highlights how quickly the internet landscape can change, both technologically and legally. And it underscores the complex relationship between user-generated content and platform responsibility, something we're still grappling with today. It's a reminder that even in the ever-evolving digital world, the human elements of connection, community, and shared passions are what truly endure.
You know, it really makes you wonder.
Why?
If Cinefacts were to reappear today, what would it look like?
Yeah, interesting.
How would they navigate the world of social media, streaming services, and the constant demand for our attention? It's something to ponder.
It certainly is.
And you know what's fascinating?
What?
The story doesn't end there. Some of those passionate Cinefacts moderators, they missed that sense of community.
That space to connect over their love of movies.
Yeah.
They actually started a similar website called MovieSide.
No way. Absolutely.
So the spirit of Cinefacts lives on.
Absolutely. It's a testament to the enduring power of shared interests and the human need for connection, even in our increasingly digital world.
That's a heartening thought.
For sure.
It seems like no matter how much the internet evolves, that desire for community, for finding your people, will always find a way. Well, that's our deep dive on Cinefacts. Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.